Out the door or no? Background: my wife and I have been married for 5 years, been together for 9 years, since we were 18. We have 2 kids together as well. During those 9 years we have been through a lot together. Like her helping me deal with the passing of both my parents. We have a very strong bond, attachment to each other, and will always love each other in a sense. During our marriage I have been going to school, taking care of the kids, while she has been working. Well, we're living pretty happily during our marriage and have had an amazing physical life. Although, complacency seemed to sneak into our relationship and combined with a few other factors. My wife had a mental breakdown. 1. She got a new job about 5 months ago bartending. Confused her about being married versus being single. 2. Financial problems. 3. My student loan was declined, causing me to not take classes this semester and further adding to our financial woes. Tired of waiting for me to finish school. 4. She felt like she was doing almost all the work, that I didn't help her out as much as I should have with the house, kids. 5. She resented me for not working. 6. Says we never do anything together, that we never have fun. When she first had this breakdown about a month ago, she told me that she wanted to see what it was like to be on her own, to have fun, and that she wanted her freedom, basically tired of the boring married life. I thought most of these newfound feelings were because of her new bartending job. I could see her slowly changing, and the growing resentment she had for me. I guess in a sense this kind of woke me up and made me realize that I was seriously slacking off as a husband and that she deserved someone to help her more and take some of the tension off her. I told her that I understood why she was feeling this way and promised to make an effort to change and help her out more with the kids, house, and that I'd find a job. She agreed to work on things and give us a chance. But by that time, it seemed like it was too late. She had already made up her mind and wanted to see what the single life was all about, all the while leading me on and making me think things were going good between us. She even tossed out the idea of having an open relationship. Well, during the next few weeks I kept my word. I helped her out as much as I could and eventually found a good job out of state doing pipeline work. By the time I left for the job, I thought we were good. She even made passionate love to me the night before I left. While I was away working, I felt that something wasn't right. She wasn't being her normal loving self to me, even though she'd send me a "I love you, miss you" text every now and then. After a few weeks of this I decided to go online and look at our phone bill. I found one number on a Friday night that I was suspicious about. Her parents had our kids and she said she went out with a girlfriend to dinner. I called it and it was a guy. I immediately called her and asked her if she was seeing another man. She denied, and denied, but then eventually came clean. She said she did go on a date with him that Friday, and that she had gone on one other date with him as well. She said all they did was kiss. My heart sank to the bottom of my stomach. It was a painful feeling being betrayed by the person you love. The next night we talked for a long time. She said her feelings about me have changed and she didn't know why. I asked her to just give us a chance and she agreed to stop talking to him, at least until I came home and we could figure things out. The next morning, she called me before work and told me they had planned to go to Chicago for the weekend, but she was canceling. I felt like this was a good sign and realized I needed to get home ASAP. She had not yet done anything unforgivable. Later that night I was preparing to drive 10 hours home. I didn't tell her I was coming home. Her parents had our kids again and she told me she was going to have a night to herself and think about things. Eventually the next morning I got home. I was pretty anxious, nervous, half expecting to find another man in my bed. I went right for her cell phone and found that she had deleted all of her texts to him, but there was a phone call from that night to him. I woke her up, asked her about it. She lied, eventually told me that she did go out to see him again, to say goodbye. My heart sank again. Anyhow, after drilling her with questions she finally came clean and told me everything. The guy had been a bar guest and he had been coming in to see her the past month. They started flirting and eventually exchanged numbers a few days after I left for work. He is also married and has 2 kids. He was successful. He excited her and had fun with him, blah blah. First date, they went to dinner, kissed in his car. She put her mouth on his for a few seconds. Second date, they just went to dinner, kissed. She had to get home to pick our kids up from daycare. Third date, after she told me she was done talking to him, they again went out to dinner. Afterwards they found somewhere to park. This time around they did the same type of fooling around, but she did some dirty things with him. Aftermath. It's been 10 days since I first got back home and things are still very difficult. She has given me her word, again, that she is done talking to him. She realizes that fooling around with a married man is wrong and she doesn't want to see him again. And I believe her. She has told me that while we are still married, she will not talk to other men at all. I believe her again, but she still says that she doesn't feel the same way for me as she once did and that she doesn't really know why. She says that when we kiss, she doesn't feel anything. I asked her how sure was she that she didn't want to continue being married. she said 99%. Since I've been home, we have done a lot of talking. We're still sleeping together. I have taken her out on dates. This past weekend I even took our whole family away for the weekend. And although we had fun and I tried my best to not think about what she has done, it doesn't seem to have any effect on her. I still love her, but the anger's building up. She's the one that had the affair and I'm still the one trying to fight for our marriage and family. I feel like all I've been doing is rewarding her bad behavior and giving her the power in this situation. I guess I've been hoping for her to snap out of it. The person she's turned into the past month is not the person I fell in love with. The girl I used to know was loving and honest with me about everything and would have never considered cheating on me or being with a married man. But it seems like that person may be gone. Currently, she's fine with just living together. She's even agreed to marriage counseling, but her heart just doesn't seem to be into it and she is still working at her bar. She says that over the years she tricked herself into believing she was happy. But all the resentment just gradually built up, until it burst her bubble a month ago. I understand my shortcomings as a husband and realize she has reason to feel the way she does. But when it comes down to it, I've always have been an honest, loving husband to her and a great father, even if I haven't helped out as much as I should have or provided for us financially. And now that I'm ready to make a serious effort to change that, she's turned her feelings off for me. I'm confused as to what I should do. A part of me wants to just be done with her and move on. The other part of me wants my wife back and the life we shared. Add in the thoughts about her affair, and my life is complete hell right now. As of now, I feel like we're just stuck in limbo. Comments: expose the other man to his wife immediately. Cause you need to end the affair. But whatever, she doesn't have the same feeling anymore for you because she just spent the last month being fawned over by this guy and having an affair. This is why you must contact the guy's wife and take him out of the picture. OP responds: she has come clean about everything. I think she's tired of lying and actually feels a huge burden off her shoulders now that I know everything. I think she's realized how crazy it was to date a married man and understands their relationship can't go anywhere. I honestly believe her when she tells me she's done with him. But I may be a huge naive idiot as well about talking to his wife. I really do want to expose this piece of crap to his wife. I have his name, from my wife who could be lying, age, what kind of car he drives, and cell phone number. But his name is common and I'm having a hard time tracking him down online or finding information on him. I have searched for him on Facebook and no luck. The only way I can think of contacting his wife is to hang out at my wife's work and wait for him and follow him home. I've been tempted to call him and talk to him, although I haven't yet. Any more advice on what step I should take? Not sure if reconciliation is even possible now that she's lost her feelings for me, even though a month ago she was madly in love with me. Should I leave and let her see what it's like to be without me? Before this, our relationship was great. I do not believe she's ever cheated on me in the past. I feel like she's having a midlife crisis. Her cheating was a byproduct of the problems in our marriage. She was weak and made poor choices. When she first started working at the bar, she'd come home and tell me how lucky she is to have a guy like me, after dealing with all the guys at her work. Then when we started having trouble with our marriage, she began to like that attention, and eventually succumbed to the temptation. I guess I'm just confused and I'm not sure what direction to go. I still love her and I think she is a good person, although a weak person. But if she's fallen out of love with me and isn't willing to work on our marriage, I guess I really have no choice, which is sad as hell to me. Throwing away a marriage and family. See, my wife had a midlife crisis and thought the grass was greener for a moment. Before working there, she was a different person, and it seems that most affairs are situation-based. Put any good person in a bad situation over and over and they are bound to change, adapt, regardless of how strong-willed a person is. I think being in that situation 50 hours a week would affect anyone, especially when your spouse isn't giving you the attention you want, and 100 other guys are. She originally got the job because it was good money and we needed it. My wife has low self-esteem too, even though she's a beautiful woman. So right from the start I didn't really want her working at that bar, and she closed a lot. Getting home at 4 a.m. doesn't do much to help a marriage, and it turned a once confident husband into one full of doubt. I would constantly question her and I'm sure this pushed her away as well. She told me herself she was getting tired of doing nothing wrong but me always accusing her. Anyhow, constantly being around the bar life, seeing single people having fun, being free. Being single, having guys constantly hitting on her, made her rethink our life together. She wants to have fun in life, that exciting life. Before the affair she came out and told me how she felt, but I kind of ignored it and thought we could just work on our marriage and it would change the way she was feeling. And I did work hard on changing things and she made me believe things were fine. Obviously, they weren't, and maybe I tried too late. By that point she had already made her mind up. I realized that most of the time in an affair women have a hard time being completely honest. I don't believe that's the case with my wife after talking to her for hours. She previously was always open and honest with me. If she is lying, then she's pure evil and deserves an Oscar. Last night the guy came into her work to see her. First time since their last date a few weeks ago. She told me that she told him she doesn't want to see him anymore and asked him to stop coming into her work. She said the conversation lasted about 10 minutes, which did kind of piss me off. It shouldn't take that long to tell someone you're done with them. I think her affair with him really is over. Not sure as to whether or not he will stop coming into her work though, and I still need to contact his wife, family, although I am unsure if I will be able to fully forgive her betrayal. She is more torn. She loves me but realizes something is wrong with her and can't explain why her feelings for me have changed. A lot of it has to do with built-up resentment and carrying the majority of the burden in our family. She has basically given up on the idea of our marriage. She wants to see what it's like to be on her own. She wants to be happy and doesn't believe she can be in our marriage. She expressed this to me before her affair. But she's fine living together the next few months and seeing what happens. She says she doesn't want to be involved with a married man or any other man while we are still technically married, and she realizes what she did was deeply wrong to both his wife and me. I honestly think she's confused about a lot of things right now. We def need to see a marriage counselor. I agree, she needs to quit her bar job, and she has even agreed to. She'd like to work there through the holidays for the money. Then quit the bars in a mall. My trust in her is broken. But when she's been brutally honest to me about every little detail I've asked, I guess that just makes me think she's done lying and holding back. Concerning her sleeping with him, I drilled her over and over asking her. She has looked me in the eyes and promised on our kids' lives she did not. Obviously, she eventually would have had I not discovered the affair after only a week and a half. I have my wife's Facebook password and have had it for a long time. She wasn't dumb enough to contact him on or friend him on there. I have also searched for him on there and have come up with nothing. My wife asked him to not come up to her work anymore, so I'm not sure if he will. I asked her that if he does, she'll text me immediately, and after some initial doubts about me coming into her work fighting him, she agreed that she would. As for using her cell and pretending I'm her and that I want to meet up with him, she has already broken things off with him. Wouldn't that be a bit suspicious? My sister has a friend at Verizon and she's going to see if she can't get them to run his number for me. Probably a long shot. Really, my only option is to scope out the bar and wait for him. But my wife has told him not to come into her work anymore and she said he agreed, so I'm not sure how good my chances are. I definitely don't want this sleazy ball loser getting away with this, especially when his wife is sitting at home taking care of their 1-month-old baby. No wife deserves that. Well, I went into my wife's bar last night for the first time while she was working. I had previously eaten dinner there. It's a restaurant, bar. I never experienced its after-hours bar scene. Anyhow, I immediately was flooded with feelings of regret. Why did I never come in here before? How could I have let my wife work in a place like this? I'm a firm believer that good people in bad situations are bound to make mistakes, bad decisions. We are all human. We are all far from perfect. When faced with constant temptation, we're all bound to cave in. I realized that my wife working there gave our marriage zero chance of success. In the 5 months she worked there, I saw a gradual change. She transformed into a great mother and wife who loved her husband more than anything, to a confused woman who threw her once great values out the window, who was now unhappy with her life and curious about being single and being with other men. There is no excuse for cheating, but I feel partly responsible for allowing her to be corrupted by such a toxic environment. She's faced with handsome, successful single men every night, all hitting on her and wanting to show her an amazing time. And at home she has a husband who isn't showing her enough attention or excitement, has put almost all of the burden on her, and has no job. This was a recipe for disaster. I want to make it clear that I am in no way justifying what she did and am deeply ashamed of her for what she's done to me and our family. I guess it's just become easier for me to understand how my marriage got to this point and what could have been changed to avoid this. This whole event, as painful as it is, has been a tremendous learning experience for me and I have no doubt will help me grow as a person. I'm done pleading with her, trying to open her eyes and make her realize what kind of person she's turned into and what she's throwing away. I'm done being afraid to lose her. I will always love her, but I now know that I have to let her go. As hard as that may be. Comments. My husband and I have worked in the restaurant industry for 10 years. It is where we met, and our relationship began. Since I am posting here, I don't need to explain the ups and downs in our marriage. It would be ridiculous to say that every bartender cheats. But I will say, from my experience in a number of different styles of restaurants, bars, it is a breeding ground for infidelity. The majority of restaurants have a very difficult time managing the physical tension within the business walls. Harassment is a way of life, and almost found acceptable in the workplace. I have found myself in a number of situations with co-workers, bosses, customers that are unacceptable. While I never cheated on my husband, Many of the conversations and relationships I had at work crossed the line by miles. My husband's emotional affairs, too, have both been with women he worked with. One being in a small, sports bar-style place. Another one at a fine dining restaurant. As far as I know, these affairs were never physical, but that is irrelevant. In the last small establishment that I worked, there were countless married people who would cheat on their spouses with coworkers or customers. It was unbelievable. You can't just chalk this up to a lot of unhappy marriages. Some of it has to be contributed to the environment. There are certain careers that are less family-friendly than others. If you think about it, the hospitality industry is a perfect storm for infidelity. Most of the employees are very friendly, outgoing, personable individuals. We make a living on being hospitable. We are surrounded by people having a great time, drinking, dating, celebrating. By the end of the shift, we feel almost entitled to do the same regardless of if we have a spouse or children at home. Most nights end with the employees partaking in shift drinks, sometimes carrying over to a local bar down the road. We spend the night at work discussing our personal lives with each other. It is like high school. In between tables we are talking about how stressed we are at home, how much our husband or wife is pissing us off. Our coworkers, friends are there to provide support and offer to buy us a drink after work, because we obviously need some time to wind down and relax. Those of you who say it has nothing to do with working in a restaurant, you are wrong. Every marriage goes through rough patches. No marriage is easy all the time. To have a successful marriage, you have to put it first. You have to build a defense for everything in the world that tries to tear you apart. There are hundreds of things waiting for you to let your guard down, from our jobs to our computers. We must recognize that there are things out there that are not conducive to marriage. Once we realize these things exist, we can remain aware and protect our marriages from these things. I am not saying that you cannot work in a restaurant and be happily married. My husband and I both still work in the industry and are closer and happier than ever. But it took us making rules like not going out for drinks after work, keeping open lines of communication if we are going to be late. We are both welcome at each other's jobs whenever and are familiar with each other's coworkers. We share all our passwords for email, Facebook, phone records, etc. If your wife cannot follow the rules that you set for her, then she needs a 9-to-5 job that is a little more conducive for your relationship. If she was in love with you before, she can be in love with you again. She is in the fog of single life. Everything looks amazing from behind that bar. Everyone is having a great time, not a care in the world. She will realize one day that she is being foolish. The times of exploring lost childhood dreams of and playing the what-if games of life are over when you are married and have children. It is time to grow up and be responsible for her kids' sake. If she is unwilling to do so, then you must protect yourself and your kids from her instability. If you choose to work it out, commit to it. It will be a long road, one with a lot of ups and downs. If you are not in it for the long haul, then it is over before you even begin reconciliation. OP responds, I'm in a pretty difficult situation with my wife, perhaps what you guys would call limbo. She cheated on me and no longer wants to be with me, but is fine living together for the time being. She regrets cheating and is going to start seeing a therapist to help herself out. Not marriage counseling. She has promised that while living together and still being married, she will be faithful and not talk to or see other men. She says she has no interest right now. I still love her and I'd like to give our marriage a chance. But I obviously can't change how she feels and I don't want to come off as weak. I thought perhaps letting her stay, at least for the holidays, would be better for our 2 kids and perhaps give her a chance to realize what she's throwing away. We had a happy, loving marriage up until her mental breakdown a month ago. In the meantime, I'd be looking for a job and saving up money to eventually move out, should she not wake up. Currently, I am laid off and have no money to move out and find a place of my own. She's working and paying the bills. I have no family, friends in the area I can live with either. So, my only other option would be to kick her out and she'd be forced to either live with her dad or one of her friends. This is definitely the harder of the 2 options. I'd have no money, looking desperately for a job now, and I feel that kicking her out would leave us zero hope of working things out, and it would essentially be the nail in the coffin. This would leave me in our home with all of the responsibility of taking care of the kids and running the household, and give her the freedom to live the single life with zero responsibility. That doesn't seem fair to me. The past 2 since her affair we have been living together and it has been up and down. I'd say for the most part it's been fine. Some days are good, we've even had fun, going out on dates and such. We are still intimate together and bonding a lot. Other days, the days when I can't get the mental images of what she did out of my head are bad, and knowing that she has no intention of giving our marriage a chance doesn't help either. Lately, I have constantly been bringing it up and talking about it and wanting to know the details, and it's been exhausting her, and it's definitely pushing her further away. I realize that it's probably best for me to stop talking about it and concentrate on myself for the time being, but it's easier said than done. She has agreed to leave if I want her to, and yeah, no bonding would be more of a punishment to me than it would be to her. Maybe there's something wrong with me even wanting to touch her. But she's beautiful and I'm still highly attracted to her. But I agree, I should stop it. She's not quitting the bar and I haven't really asked her to. She wants to work there during the holiday rush. It's in a mall. After that she said she'd look for another job. I'm hoping that fog does evaporate and she starts seeing clearly. Hopefully her therapist will help with that. She was an amazing person before all of this. She's got to realize she can't have the life we once shared because of her decisions. I get that. I guess it seems like if I detach myself from her, it just makes it easier for her to let go. Same goes with her moving out. Perhaps I'll move down to our basement and stop sleeping in the same bed with her though. Last night we talked and apparently, she misses him, or misses the fun they had together. Going out, and making her feel good. The excitement she got from kissing him, blah blah. She said she's been tempted to call him but hasn't. She knows nothing can come of the relationship, seeing as he's married as well. I'm sure that if he was single, she'd easily still be seeing him and probably not be with me. Our talk also helped me understand her sudden change of feelings for me. Originally, I thought her affair was a result of our marriage problems, which I'm sure it is in a way. But I was confused by her lack or willingness to make things work and put an effort into fixing our problems. Now I realize that this guy has been around since the beginning of our problems over a month ago. He started off as a simple bar guest who she developed a crush on. After I went out of state to work a few weeks ago, she took that opportunity to go on a date with him. She originally acted like she barely cared about him and she just wanted to have fun. That in her eyes our relationship was over anyhow. Her feelings for him have made her doubt her feelings for me. Last night after our talk, I told her to sleep on the couch, that she didn't deserve to sleep in our bed. No more sleeping together, no more pleading with her and trying to make her realize she's thrown our family away for the cheap excitement she's gotten from a married man with 2 kids of his own. The level of selfishness throughout all of this has amazed me. She has truly transformed as a person. This morning when she got up, she basically ignored me, got ready for work, and left. She's acting pretty cold-hearted now after our talk. She planned on making Thanksgiving dinner for me and our 2 boys tomorrow, but I told her I was thinking about going to my sister's instead. Leaving her at home alone. Do you guys think this is a good idea? Also concerning the guy she cheated on me with. The only solid info I have on him is his phone number. Only way I could find out where he lives and contact his wife would be to constantly stake out my wife's work. Which I doubt I'll do. Although I did ask her to text me if he comes up there again and she agreed to. Not sure how honest she's being. I also may try contacting a private investigator and asking how much he would charge me to find some info on him. I'm pretty broke right now. I have yet to call the guy. Do you guys think I should? Or would it be pointless? What should I say? I thought about sending him a text from my wife's second phone, the one she used to hide talking to him from me. Saying, don't contact my wife. Don't go up to her work. I'm only going to tell you once. And yes, I realize the only thing keeping her from having a real relationship with this guy is because he's married. I'm sure if she continues to work there, she'll eventually find another single guy to replace him. She says she loves her job, that it's fun, and it would be stupid of her to quit while I'm unemployed, especially during the holiday rush. She's expressed to me that she would look for new work after the holidays. Not sure how serious she is about that. I desperately need to find a job that would give me the power to be on my own and also show her that I'm stepping it up. But I think she is using this resentment excuse as a way of making her feel okay about what she has done and justifying it. I don't think it's the real problem. She had no resentment 2 months ago. Like I have said, she was perfectly fine with our situation, her working, me going to school. We were happy, but I didn't help out as much as I should have with the kids' house. Then we got dealt a tough blow by my student loan not being approved, and me not being able to take classes this semester. My last semester. We were also depending on that money as well to help us get by as well. Right after this, it seems like she opened herself up to this guy and developed feelings for him. She hasn't owned up to this guy plus working in that bar are the 2 main reasons for her sudden change in character and how she feels about me. In her eyes she reached a breaking point and the resentment built up. She's gone from being a loving and devoted mother, wife who thought she was lucky to have a guy like me, to being fine with being some married man's toy on the side. She's thrown all of her morals and values which made her a great person out the window. All of the excuses she has given me about why she no longer wants to be married, tired of carrying all the burden. We never have any fun. She can't be herself around me, are all things that are easily fixable with some effort, but she just doesn't want to fix them at this point. Last night she told me she doesn't even know if she believes in marriage anymore. This coming from a woman who was madly in love with me and her top priority in life was her family just 2 months ago. I think all it would take is for this guy to come back into her bar and sweet tell her, even though she knows it's wrong and it won't go anywhere. She's weak right now, she still desires the fun they had together. She misses it, and from what I heard from her last night, it has been hard for her not to contact him. She's been tempted too. 2 weeks ago, she talked to this guy and told him that what they were doing is wrong, that they were both married and needed to stop, and asked him not to come into her bar anymore while she was working. He told her that he understood and he would anymore. Perhaps after 2 weeks of not talking to him and his lack of pursuing her, she's beginning to miss him and want him again. I do have GPS on her phone, so I can see exactly where she is. She doesn't know that. And I do believe that she's kept her word of not talking to him thus far. I just feel like it's a matter of time before she caves in. And know that I realize she feels so strongly about him. It makes me feel differently about her. I think I do have a lot to prove, not only to her but myself as well. Right now, she doesn't believe I can change and doesn't think I can put what she did behind me. She's afraid to put her heart into it again and just have us revert back to how we were before. Which I can understand. I think just being a strong man, not showing weakness and begging with her is key. The problem is, while I'm making this changes on my side, I want to be 100% sure she's going to be faithful. Her not believing we have a future together is making that hard to do. I do have access to her phone, email, FB, and she has promised to be faithful. Today, I left her home to be alone on Thanksgiving and took my boys to my sister's home. This upset her. She thought I was doing it to get back at her. I just wanted her to get a taste of what she was throwing away. And in return she went up to her bar to hang out. She's there now. She's responded to my texts and I just called her and she said she was visiting with a girlfriend, who I heard in the background, and she'd be leaving soon. But I see me being tough on her maybe just causing her to resent me more and pushing her further away. So, I'm having trouble finding a middle ground between being a nice respectable husband who's making an effort to fix things and change, but also one who's done taking her crap and wants to show her he's not afraid to lose her. This bar is a huge problem though, and the only way I can rid us of it is to find a job so she can quit. Update: my wife got wasted last night at her bar. She kept texting me saying she is sorry for everything. I eventually had woken my 8-year-old up to go pick her up. She was too drunk to drive home. It feels as if she is self-destructing. Today I think I'm finally going to call the guy she had the affair with and try and get some answers. I'm going to give him an option. He can either be honest with me or answer my questions about the affair, or I'm going to have a long talk with his wife about what a slimeball husband she has. This would be a bluff as I have no way of contacting her right now. I'm going to let him know that my wife and I are trying to work on our marriage, and before I can do that, I need to know she's being honest with me about exactly what happened. I'm going to ask him how long it's been going on, how many times they had slept together. Even though she says they didn't, what did they do exactly? How many dates did they go on? When is the last time they spoke and saw one another? And what she said to him when she broke it off. Then I'm going to tell him to not speak with her again and not go into her place of work anymore. My comment: I don't like the idea of contacting the other man. Maybe I think it's just meaningless. Part 2 coming today. This is a good long series for some of you who like longer series. Let me get something to eat, then I'll work on the next one.